Hi guys, how are you all? This is FJ What If. Today we are going to discuss about what if Naruto was king of Shaman and had spirit of fire part 3. Chapter 3. What a shaman can do. Naruto yawned as he stretched, wincing a bit as his muscles protested the action. He didn't know how long he slept, but the strain from allowing the Shadaime to possess him was gone. He shouldn't have doubted his body's ability to adapt since he was always a fast healer. He groggily looked around to realize that he fell asleep inside the Hokage office. He looked down on his lap to see his guardian spirit, GS, sitting contentedly on his lap. He was quite surprised that the spirit of fire, Soph, was still in Oversoul OS mode considering how large the Furioku requirement was to keep his GF solid in the physical world. He thanked the spirits that how instilled the knowledge of the Asakura shamans into his head, or he would be fumbling in the dark concerning his abilities. Hey, you want me to end the OS? Naruto asked his GS. He knew that the Soph didn't have the ability to talk and his ancestor never really treated the aspect as if it was a living being. Well, how did, but it was more along the line of a weapon than an actual guardian. He saw the GS shook its head, appearing content in keeping its form active for a while longer. Naruto shrugged. If you insist, he said before patting the chibified OS on the head as he started to plan. Naruto realized that he needs to make plans to return the path of shamans into the world. He knew, for a fact, that the world was all about balance, the cycle of yin and yang. If he manifested his shamanic abilities, then it was quite possible that some would be seeing spirits soon enough. It would be unfair to leave the new shamans alone, and he knew how hard it was to learn shamanic abilities without a proper teacher. Such was the case. Naruto decided that he needed a new place to call home and possibly turn a part of it into a school of sorts for the new shamans that he knew would be cropping up sometime soon. Might as well get started, murmured Naruto as he grabbed Soph from his lap and placed the GS on his, stood up from the chair and made his way to the shelf where his Gigi kept some documents about Konoha. It took a while for him to find a map of the village. He liberated the map from its home before making his way to the Hokage's desk and opened it. Thankfully, the map was labeled accordingly so he knew which was which. If I want to set up shop, then I need a place that is quiet, a bit secluded since I don't want the noise of the village to intrude upon my privacy, and a place where natural Furioku is at its highest since I want to start making my tools for divination. He murmured absent-mindedly as he studied the map. He didn't notice when the Sandame entered the office, surprised that this charge was already awake and concentrating something on his table. He noticed the boy was so engrossed over something that he didn't notice him enter. He walked over to the long-haired blonde to see that he was perusing a map of Konoha. Looking for something, Naruto-kun? He asked, startling the boy. Gigi, you startled me, Naruto accused the aged leader, who chuckled. Yes, I can see that, said the Hokage before going around the table and taking his seat. Why are you studying the map so intently? Well, I'm looking for a place to set up a home for me, Naruto said with a shrug as he started looking at the map again. You already have an apartment, the Sandame pointed out. I know, but it's too small, Gigi. Besides, I need a bigger space to set up a school for new shamans. New shamans? Asked the Sandame in surprise, causing Naruto to nod. The world is all about balance, Gigi, explained Naruto as he tapped his head. The entire knowledge of Asakura shamanic practice is right here in my head. Since I manifested my ancestors' abilities, the world will surely balance it out by granting some with shamanic powers as well. I know how hard it is to discover the ability by yourself, so I'm thinking of setting up shop somewhere that I can consider a home, as well as open a school of sorts to hold classes for new shamans. Besides, I need a place to practice my art without space or the villagers hindering me. Art? The Hokage asked in confusion. Shamans are not limited to conversing with spirits, Gigi. Above everything else, shamans are the medium of the spirit world and the living world. Shamans, aside from exorcising evil spirits, we also have abilities for healing and divination. I know how to make the tools, but I need a place to house and use them in peace, Naruto explained to his surrogate grandfather. What do you mean divination? Is this about predicting the future? Asked somewhat dubious Hokage. It is more than that, Naruto said with a smile. The future is a fickle thing and there is no way to accurately predict the future unless the spirits relinquish the information. Shamanic divination is different. For example, I can divine a place if it is a good spot for business, or I can divine a house to make it more auspicious for a family to live in. I can also help divine areas to set up protections or barriers for a bountiful harvest, stop harmful spirits from entering, or even call on good spirits to bless the village. Amazing. Sarutobi breathed out, his mind already going a mile minute on the possibilities of such abilities Naruto possessed. He would definitely support the boy, and he knew the council wouldn't raise up fuss over it. What are your requirements for a clan house, Naruto-kun? Clan house? Naruto asked in confusion. I just finished a meeting with the council and I corrected the problem Hashirama-sensei informed me about. Anyway, your name change has been approved, so you are now an Asakura as you requested, and, with the blessing of the council, you can start your own clan here in Konoha. We can't give you clan head status due to your age, but that will come in time, so there is no rush. I'm not planning on making babies anytime soon, Gigi. Naruto deadpanned, causing the Sandame to blush. Aren't you too young to know about that? The Hokage accused the smirking blonde. Let me remind you that I have the Asakura family knowledge in my head, so that involves the birds and bees. You are spared from giving me the talk that I know you're dreading, Naruto said with a smirk as he sensed the uneasiness and nervousness in the man's heart thanks to his reishi. Anyway, I don't mind the clan thing since I plan to jumpstart the Asakura family here in Konoha. However, if I do find people with shamanic abilities, can you make it so that they become a part of the clan? I don't think that would be a problem, though there is a restriction. You can only adopt a person into your clan if they don't have a family and with their permission. Naruto shrugged. That's all right. I don't want to separate them from their families. Anyway, regarding the requirement, I need a spacious area surrounded by nature, possibly a place where wildlife is plentiful and away from the noise. Why do you need such a place? Furioku, or spiritual energy, is needed for my art to work. I need a place where nature is abundant, so there are large amounts of Furioku available for me. I sense that Konoha is teeming with spiritual energy thanks to all the trees in the area, so that's not a problem. However, I definitely need a place where I won't be disturbed. Explained Naruto before an area in the map caught his eye. It was the perfect place to put up a home, and it was definitely auspicious enough for his plans. What is this area here, Gigi? He asked the Hokage while indicating the area with his finger, causing the aged leader to pale. I can give you any area you wish except that place, Naruto-kun. Why? That area is called Training Ground 44, or what our shinobi call the Forest of Death. That forest was created by the Hashirama-sensei using his Mokuden. Due to the large amounts of ambient chakra in that forest, the animals have grown quite large. Hell, even the snakes there are as big as summon animals. I don't want to expose you to that kind of danger. Naruto smirked before pointing at his GS on his shoulder, who was looking at the map as well. Gigi, I have my guardian here, and I think we all know for a fact that he can protect me. Naruto said with a grin. Besides, I'm a fully trained shaman with ties to nature. I don't think animals would be a problem. I'm not so sure if that is a good idea, the Hokage said dubiously. I'll prove it if you give me a chance, Naruto challenged, causing the old man to sigh and give in to the boy's request. Besides, it would be nice to see what Naruto was capable of. Fine, I'll bring you there later, he promised. Thanks. So, do you think you can lend me a hand in setting up a clan house there, Gigi? I can't give you any money, Naruto-kun, but I can lend you one of my shinobi to help you out. How can a shinobi help? This shinobi has the ability to use Mokuden, and one of his techniques allows him to make a house from scratch. I definitely want to see him make a house for me, Naruto said in excitement, making the Sandame chuckle. So when can we go to this forest? It's already past midnight, so why don't I take you there before lunch? I have some documents I need to finish to finalize your name change, as well as your new status as a shaman in the village. The council also placed you under shinobi protection, so you don't have to worry about mobs attacking you again. Well, I'm not really worried about them anymore, said Naruto with grin. But being in your protection is definitely welcome, so thank you, Gigi. It was a pleasure, Naruto-kun. Why don't you come by again an hour before lunch? We'll grab something to eat at Ichiraku before going to the forest. I hope you don't mind if I bring some of my Anbu with us. Naruto shrugged. I don't mind, Gigi. Will Dog be there? Of course, since he is part of your protection detail. I'll bring the shinobi I promised to set up your clan house. Great. I think I'll head home for some sleep, said Naruto as he sent a mental command his GS. Nodding its head, the Soph went outside via the window with Naruto following. He stopped by the window before looking at his surrogate grandfather from over his shoulder. See you later, Gigi, he told the man before jumping out. The Sandaime paled when he saw his surrogate grandson jump out of the window. Shinobi could do that, but a 5-year-old without training couldn't, shaman or not. He immediately looked out the window to see Naruto being held aloft by a larger version of his GS. Let me show you one of my abilities, Gigi, said Naruto before flaring his Furioku. Oversoul. Spirit of Fire, Kurobina. The Sandaime was surprised when the Soph burst into flames before surrounding Naruto's exposed body. The flames solidified to form something a black armor with 2 pillars on his back. The lower part of the armor had Soph's arm and clawed hand, and a protrusion like a tail. Naruto was now floating unassisted just outside the window. This is what I call, Kurobina, an armor OS when I merge with Soph, giving me the ability of flight. This is also a powerful version of Soph and doesn't take a lot of my energy to manifest. The twin pillars on my back are cannons that can fire powerful beams of intense heat, hotter than that of magma. Naruto explained before turning towards the direction of his apartment complex. See you at lunch, Gigi. With a burst of speed, Naruto flew away from the Hokage tower, leaving a Sandaime Hokage sporting a headache. Naruto couldn't help but stare at the large trees as he and his group stood outside the fence of Training Ground 44. Why such a large fence, Gigi? Asked Naruto in curiosity. He didn't have Soph around since he had this gut feeling that he won't be needing his GS. Besides, he didn't want Soph to burn his potential home before he could set things up, danger or no. As I told you last night, the Forest of Death is filled to the brim with nature chakra thanks to the Shadaime's Mokuden. The animals that lived there absorbed the ambient chakra that enhanced their size, strength, and speed. You might say that they evolved if you want to be technical about it, explained the Hokage as he gestured for Dog to open the gate. Everyone entered with the Anbu forming a protective ring around the duo. They walked for half an hour before they were surrounded by large tigers and snakes. The Anbu and the Hokage were immediately at defensive, but Naruto shook them out of that. I'll take care of this, Gigi, said Naruto as he placed a ram seal over his chest. The animals must have sensed what he was about to do when all of them attacked at once. Omnudo Mahu. Shikigami. The leaves on the forest floor floated up before they took form. As if on command, the hundreds of Shikigamis intercepted the attacks and proceeded to tackle the gigantic animals and throwing them back without effort. The Sandaime and the Anbu team gaped at him in shock, causing Naruto to chuckle. You've seen nothing yet, said Naruto as he took out 2 rectangular papers from his pocket. He stayed up for an hour last night to create the seals so he could summon house protectors before he gained the Soph. He threw the fudas as his Furioku surged. Amudo Mahu. Oni Kyodai. The fudas transformed into 2 large ogre-like constructs that towered over the giant animals of the forest. The 2 were huge, one red and one blue. They landed, causing a mild earthquake to form due to their combined weight. The 2 growled as they took defensive stances against the animals. Zenki, Goki. Protect. Naruto barked, causing the 2 to immediately make a path by punching or throwing the animals that blocked their master's path. Naruto continued his walk as his Shikigami swatted the attackers aside. The Hokage and his Anbu details gaped at the enormity of what just happened before following Naruto and the protection of his summons. What are they? The cat-masked Anbu asked in awe. They are my protectors, the Oni Kyodai Zenki and Kuki. They are my personal guards, so to speak. Naruto answered as he studied the forest while ignoring the destruction the 2 were causing. He was listening to the whispers of the trees, leading him to a perfect spot for his clan house. I thought the giant you flew with last night was your personal guard. Cat pointed out, causing some of the Anbu to nod in agreement, their eyes not leaving the 2 guards forming a perimeter around them. Soph is my personal spirit, these 2 are mere guards that I summoned using the tags I made. Besides, using Soph here is counterproductive since his attacks are fire-based. I don't want to burn down my future home because I need protection, he said dryly. Sure, Soph was a powerful guardian but not perfect. Are you sure you want to set up shop here, Naruto-kun? As you can see, the forest is filled to the brim with predators and even you would be hard-pressed to defend against them. Naruto chuckled as he pulled out a stack of fudas before showing one of them to the group. I know. This is why I brought these. Naruto showed them one of the fudas who had a drawing on its face. These are called defensive fudas. I will set it up around the area where I want to put up my home. Once activated, it will erect a solid barrier powered by the ambient energy in the air. Nothing will get in without my permission. Amazing. So it can stop anything? Dog asked in amazement. Well, not everything. I need something more than paper to stop something more powerful than animals on steroids. Naruto joked. Besides, once my house is done, I will set up a more permanent protection. Anyone with ill intent towards me would not be able to cross the threshold of my compound. I will also have spirits guarding the surrounding area to discourage eavesdroppers and invaders. Besides, considering how my status as a shaman is now spread around the village, I will expect quite a lot of unwanted visitors from within and some outsiders. The defensive barrier I plan to set up will definitely give them something to think about before trying it again. He said the last part with a sadistic grin on his face that scared the group. The group walked in silence, no longer afraid of attacks thanks to their gigantic bodyguards. So, Naruto-kun, do you have a specific place in mind for your new clan house? Asked the Sandame as Naruto shrugged. The spirits of the forest are telling me that there is a large clearing a few kilometers ahead of us. They informed me that it is big enough for what I have in mind. Naruto answered. You can talk to trees. The Sandame asked. His head couldn't grasp the concept of a shaman talking to trees. Trees don't talk, period. Well, talk is not an accurate term to use in this scenario, Gigi. Said Naruto as he patted the trunk of a rather thick tree and feeling its happiness for being acknowledged. Trees are living beings and each one of them has a spirit. As a shaman, I am attuned to the spirits of nature, allowing me to communicate with them. They don't talk to me, per se, but they communicate in another way, something along the line of impression rather than vocal communication. So you are saying that they show you images? Sarutobi asked in confirmation. Exactly. Naruto agreed, though it was far from the truth. It was hard to explain the concept of nature to someone not well versed in the shamanic arts. Anyway, we shouldn't be far from the place now. An hour later, the group found themselves in a large clearing that could easily house the 5 Hokage Tower with ease. Sandame-sama, this is the unmapped portion of the Forest of Death. Dog informed the Sandame, his voice in awe since this was the first time they stepped foot in the fabled S-class sector of Training Ground 44. No one, not even Anko who made the forest a home, was able to venture out this far without getting killed, and they practically strolled to get here without worries. I know. I sent a few of your comrades here before after the Third Great Shinobi War to map the place out, but they couldn't reach these area. They aborted before they could even step foot at the boundary line. The Sandame said dryly before turning to Naruto, who was grinning like a loon. I take it this is the place. You bet. This place is perfect. Naruto exclaimed happily. So, who's the guy with the Mokuden? The Sandame and the Anbu pointed at a rather nervous masked individual at the rear of the group. My name is Tenzo, Asakura-sama. Tenzo introduced himself. Asakura-sama, where in the world did that come from? Naruto asked, confused at the honorific. You just took us to the legendary area here in the Forest of Death with ease that would make our Anbu commander drool in envy. You deserve the respect, Asakura-sama. Tenzo replied with a grin behind his mask, enjoying the annoyed look on the young shaman's face. Naruto sighed before fishing out a folded paper from his pocket and handing it to a confused Yamato. What's this? That's the blueprint and drawing of my clan house. Since the Hokage told me that you can make a wooden house with your Mokuden, it is only right that I give you something to work with. Naruto said cheekily before pulling out his defensive fudas. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm going to set up the barrier so we won't have to worry about the animals turning us into dinner. Zenki, Kuki, keep everyone safe. He ordered his Shikigami guards as he started placing the fudas on the trees around the clearing and activating them to set up the initial barrier to keep the unwanted animals out. Yamato watched Naruto's retreating back before looking at the complicated drawing of a clan house in his hands. He sighed, causing those who heard him to snicker. Well, what are you waiting for, Tenzo-kun? Start building. Dog joked. I hope you have some soldier pills handy, senpai. This is going to drain me dry before I could get this done. Tenzo said dryly as he started the hand seals for his Mokuden Jutsu. He was going to demand a vacation after this job. End of chapter 3.